Hey guys, T-Bones here. Let's jump into lesson 116, slope-intercept form. So this is something we've done in class, and it is something that shouldn't be too crazy for you, okay? Now, when we're talking about slope-intercept form, we are talking about C, okay? Each one of these equations, it does have the same information. They're just moved around a little bit, okay? But the real important thing here is when the whole point of this line is to give us all possible solutions. Because you can only ever solve a problem that says like 2x equals 4. I can solve that, right? I can divide both sides by 2, and I can get x equals 2. Okay, that has a solution. The problem is if I have y equals negative 2x plus 4, I have two variables. I can't find a solution for both of these variables that is definite, because with this equation, I can solve it so that if x equals 2, then y equals 0. If y equals 4, then x equals 0. Okay? And throughout all of these points, if y equals 2, then x equals 1. Okay? And what we'll see is that there are infinite solutions to this. Okay? However, even though there's infinite solutions, anytime y equals something, we can figure out what the x is going to equal. Okay? And so what this line does is it gives us every solution. Every possible solution is on this line, particularly because there's an arrow here and an arrow here that tell us that this line goes on forever. Okay? So what we have here is we have the makings to figure out what everything equals. If I want to find out what x equals, if y equals 8, I can go ahead and I can put it in here, and I can get 4 equals negative 2x, divide both sides by negative 2, I get negative 2 equals x. Okay? So if y equals 8, x equals negative 2. Okay? And we can solve all of these equations based on doing this. Okay? So this is really helpful for us for finding out a lot of things. And we've done this in the Barbie doll bungee jump. We've done this in some other stuff. But the important thing to know is there's two numbers that you need to memorize here. Okay? We call this number our slope. And this number that's on its own that is not touching x, this is going to be our y-intercept. Okay? So I really, really want to emphasize that. If it touches x, it's your slope. So if I have y equals 2x plus 7, my slope is the number that's touching x. If I have y equals 7 plus 3x, okay, it's moved around, my slope is the number that is touching x. If I have y equals 4/3 x plus 8, my slope is the number that is touching x. Okay? So when you're asked to find slope, all you do is find x. Boom, that's your slope. Okay? Well, in this case, you have to put it on the right side, so it's negative 3. Slope here is 1, right? Because there's an invisible 1x here. My slope here is going to be negative 2x once you move it to the right side. My slope here is going to be 1x. My slope here is going to be, well, you have to do a little bit of math there. My slope here is 1x, negative 1x, 1/2 x, negative 2x. That's your slope. Okay? My y-intercept is Hey, it's the number that's not slope. It's on its own. Okay, the y-intercept is the number that if you graph it, goes through the y-intercept. Okay, so it is the number that hits this y-axis. So if that's 4, y-intercept here is 6. Okay, because it hits the y-intercept at 6. My y-intercept here is going to be 3. Here is going to be positive 3 again. Over here, my y-intercept is going to be a positive 3 once you move that over. My y-intercept here is negative 3, positive 6, positive 3, negative 2. Okay? It is just this number that is on its own. That's your y-intercept. Okay? That is the point in which the line hits the y-axis. Okay? And that is always where you want to start graphing any number. Any of these, okay? Always start at the y-intercept. Okay? So when I have this, well, let's go ahead. I'll do A, okay? First off, I have to put it into y-intercept form. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. Okay, I had to move that from this side over to the other side. So I have y equals negative 2x plus 3. I have my y-axis, I have my x-axis, plus 3. 1, 2, 3. That's my first point. Now, in order to actually do the slope, we have to learn something new. We have to put a line under this and a 1. Your slope needs to be a fraction. Okay? In order to do any of these, it needs to be a fraction. And so if it's not a fraction, if it's a whole number, if your slope is 1, or if your slope is negative 2, you need to put a line over it, under it, and a 1 under it to turn it into a fraction. Now I'm going to do rise over run. So this is the slope for a negative. Otherwise, it is up and over. Okay. So for this negative 1, I'm going to do down 2, 1, 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Okay. This is my y-axis, is up or down. So if I had a, let's say I have an equation, y equals 3 over 1x plus 1. Okay. This could also say y equals 3x plus 1. Okay. The plus 1 means that this is my starting point. That's my y-intercept. That 3 over 1, my rise over run, I go up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. On the other side, I go 1, 2, 3 down over 1. Okay. Because you have to go both ways. Line goes up and it goes down. And then I just draw a line through here, and I'm done. Over here, that's my line. Okay? All right, I think this is probably more complicated than what they gave you, which I wish they took more time on this and less time on frickin' percents. But whatever. Hopefully you can do okay with this. If you need any help, let me know. I'm going to ask you guys to just do 1 through 25 odd. Okay, give you a little bit of a break. And that's it. Have a good one, my dudes.